By Cressida Wetton and Josh Howie to take you through Thursday's top stories. This is Headliners. But before tomorrow's news, let's get tonight's headlines with Sam Francis.
Very good evening to you. The top story at 11 o'clock. Police say they are making significant progress as they continue questioning a man arrested after a car drove into Liverpool fans during Monday's victory parade. 7 people are still in hospital tonight, with 79 injured in total, including a baby whose pram was thrown down the street. Officers now say the car followed an ambulance through a lifted roadblock as medics rushed to help someone having a suspected heart attack. A 53-year-old man remains in custody on suspicion of attempted murder and drug driving. Detectives are reviewing CCTV and speaking to newly identified victims as the investigation moves forward. UK prosecutors have revealed that influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate will face 21 charges when extradited to Britain, including for rape, human trafficking and actual bodily harm. The Crown Prosecution Service says the charges were authorised in 2024 following a file from Bedfordshire Police. But Romania's criminal proceedings must finish first. Andrew Tate faces 10 charges linked to 3 alleged victims, while Tristan faces 11 charges linked to 1. Both brothers deny all allegations and say they are innocent men. Russia says it is ready to put peace deals on the table, offering Ukraine a settlement during talks in Istanbul on the 2nd of June. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov claims the document lays out Moscow's full position on ending the war and tackling its so-called root causes. The Russian delegation, led by top negotiator Vladimir Medinsky, will present the plan and offer clarifications in direct talks. It would be the second round of resumed face-to-face negotiations between the two countries if it goes ahead. Thames Water has been hit with a record £122 million fine for illegal sewage spills and breaking rules on shareholder payouts. Regulator Ofwat says the firm let down its customers and spilled raw sewage from storm overflows routinely, not just during heavy rain. Over £100 million covers sewage breaches, while just over £18 million relates to payouts, some made while the firm was in deep financial trouble. It comes as the company, drowning in nearly £20 billion of debt, continues its urgent search for fresh investment. And the former head of NHS Test and Trace says fewer people would have died of COVID if the government had simply paid them to stay at home. Baroness Dido Harding told the COVID inquiry she repeatedly urged ministers to boost financial support, but Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister at the time, blocked it at every opportunity. She said disadvantaged people were scared to get tested because they couldn't afford to isolate, and the UK spent far less than other countries on support. Private diaries have also revealed ministers preferred sticks like fines over carrots like cash. That's it from me for this evening. Plenty more still to come right here with Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello and welcome to Headliners, where we give you the best of tomorrow's newspapers with the best of yesterday's comedians. First things first, let's see what's on the front pages. By the way, but just checking in, we're all doing all right? You both look well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I got a promotion.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're at the door. You'll get home quicker.
Well, this is it. I mean, you know, they finally were like, you know what, Josh, been hosting for a while. We trust you now on the panel.
Right.
So that's nice.
I also think it's because the left side of your face might be the sexier side. And for a while, you've just been showing the right side.
Let's have this. I don't know. What do we think?
I could be wrong.
Yeah, no,
I've not been to the opticians for a while.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
That's why we put Cresta in the centre. Are we allowed to talk about looks and appearances with women? I don't know.
We're not sure.
Okay.
It's up in there, isn't it? You got a promotion, I got a bronzer. That's why we look so
looking good. Front pages then to the... I mean, let's jump in with the Telegraph. That's the big bad boy, isn't it?
That's the big bad boy. Army of hackers to take on Putin. Apparently we're going to spend £1 billion on this.
Nice.
That's a lot of...
On British hackers. The best hackers in the world, British hackers.
If they're up against the Russian ones, we don't stand a chance, do we?
I don't feel very confident about that. And, of course, we've got a lovely picture of Macron and Brigitte having a lovely, intimate, definitely not staged moment there.
She's kissing it better. She's kissing his cheeks like, oh, I'm sorry. And this is what abusive relationships are like. It's that kind of violence, and then suddenly, like, everything's good afterwards again and sexy.
Do you not think she might be whispering, keep smiling, if you don't, I'm going to smack your face across the stage?
Absolutely, you can't see her hands in this picture. Yeah. You don't know what she's up to. Also,
is it a grimace that he's doing? He's like, oh, OK, please don't.
Could be, couldn't it? The Prime Minister's accusing Farage, saying he's going to tank the economy like Truss. He thinks he can't be trusted.
You know what I mean, as opposed to tanking it like Labour. At the moment, I would suggest they don't talk about tanking economies. That's not a good thing. But we've got the new Harry Potter that was revealed yesterday. But they are doing a lot of the papers doing the curse of the child actor. In this case, he became, obviously, the last Harry Potter became a multi-millionaire famous person. I know. I feel very sorry. He doesn't know what. That there are only two sexes. But that's not J.K. Rowling's fault. That's because he just didn't go to school.
Yeah.
He didn't do biology.
Well, that is her fault, really. If she'd have written worse books, he would have actually had a school career.
Absolutely.
So,
and £16,000 for a tent. How the rich do Glastonbury, which is extreme.
I hope for that money somebody brings you breakfast in bed. It's not just a tent.
My tent was 250 quid on Amazon, and that's like 9 people tent. So I don't know where they're spending all this extra money from.
Well, they're all glampy yurts and girts and other words I don't really know what they mean. Wigwams, teepees.
Yeah, I think it means not touching the mud.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah. If you
poor people.
If you can go to that and actually have a flushable toilet and no trench foot, maybe it is money well spent.
Yeah, but have you really been to Glastonbury at all? If you've not got trench foot.
You don't come back with a STD.
You're not meant to enjoy it.
If you think trench foot is an STD, you're doing it wrong.
Oh,
I don't want to get into the graphic details of what goes where. Shouldn't be that. All right, we covered the front page of the Telegraph then. We can move on to the Times and see what they've got.
Times. So they've got... I've tasted the world's stinkiest cheeses. That's well worth the price right there. That's if you're going to put that on the front page of your paper, that's what's going to draw people in, obviously. But the big story isn't like Dr. Striking. It's, of course, manual cars. 4 out of 5 cars are now automatic, which is good news for women.
Oh.
I resemble that. No, that's
you
not
do
true.
resemble that remark.
I don't. I will defend myself. I've never had a manual car. I've only ever...
Steve, you owe me £5.
You're not defending yourself. That's the opposite of defending.
Steve paid me £5 to say that, see if I would say it on air.
Don't worry,
No,
what
I've said the wrong word there. I meant automatic. I've always had a manual car. Just because I can't speak doesn't mean...
Just because you don't understand cars, that's fine. We're not saying that you can't drive. We're just saying...
Yes, I've had the knob in my hand, is what I'm trying to tell you.
No, that was the Macron thing. I think that's what's happening on that picture. We should move away from that story. My car is manual. My missus' car automatic. So we fit this so far. And there was a time when she needed to borrow my car. It was last year. She was like, no, I'll be fine. I can remember how to drive a manual. And I was getting the kid out the back of the main car and just heard my car do this. And I went up to her and said, have you put the clutch down? And she said, which one's the clutch again? And never saw that car again.
And look at you boasting how you've got 2 cars.
Well, I had 2 cars. Now I've got 1 car that doesn't have a gearbox, and the other car is hers. So, yeah.
A really happy wife.
I hope you remembered the child.
Oh, I knew there was something I forgot. She's still in there. Oh. Anything else good on the front? I think we've covered all the good, tasty stuff there. To the Daily Mail. What are they having a go at women about?
Well, it's funny you should mention it, Steve. It's a woman having a go. She says, there's an insistent whisper that haunts me. Wouldn't you be a little bit happier if you were a bit thinner? Now, I hasten to add, there's no picture of Elizabeth Day's body, but my assumption is, well, yeah, obviously.
Is she standing next to Louis Schaefer? But that's not true, because he wouldn't whisper, would it? He'd just be like, you're fat. Yeah. Sort it out.
He doesn't tell women they're fat. He does reserve it for men. He's quite sexist.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's nice.
Never heard him do it.
Well, he's not great with women either. It's just not about fatness that they go for.
Yeah.
We should mention what else is on the front page. Yes. Difficult to cover, isn't it, really?
Well, it's a Liverpool suspect is a company director, so it sounds like it was loaded. If you work for that... Good news, obviously, no one died. That's obviously the most important thing. There are people in hospital, injured, including children. But whoever works for this company might want to start looking for a new job.
But they've not named it. The question is about how much information should we get. I know,
Is he white?
We know that much, but now they're really not worrying too much about the contempt of court issues, are they? We're getting very close to it. Not charged yet, I know, but then going like, here's a CV of this person. Do we need the full CV of him?
I feel sorry for the kids. I mean, you know, we don't know their identity, obviously, but, you know, your dad embarrasses you as a teenager easily. This is just horrendous.
I used to feel sorry for his kids. I thought you felt sorry for the kids.
I think the family are getting a mention here, and I don't think that's very nice.
Yeah.
No, it's not very nice. Let's not mention it anymore.
Yeah, move on to the... here's something that gets Leo Kurtz angry. The BBC on the front page of the Eye.
Oh, yeah, BBC letting off over 75s who failed to pay their licence fee. So they've sort of... I guess they've been speaking to the government. The government has said, we're not actually going to do the winter fuel payments, so there are going to be less over 75s. So it's sort of win-win. They've kind of got the inside dope on it.
Yeah.
Or it just is bad. It's a bad look to be arresting old people.
And it never made any sense. So I know you only go to prison if for the failure to pay the fine, not for the fine itself. Bah, it doesn't really matter. The idea that you'd send someone to prison where you get a TV... It makes no sense. You can watch the BBC in prison. Why are you sending them there?
Yes, very good. They've also got now the childhood fame is a curse I feel for the new Harry Potter cast, and this is written by an anonymous person who didn't do very well as an adult.
And we might run out of drinking water in 10 years. We don't have new reservoirs.
Oh, and is that immigration? That's what it seems to be implying.
No, not from...
Are people coming over here drinking our water?
They arrive thirsty. We'll give them that much.
I've got all the water across the channel.
It's salty.
Yeah.
The Sun, front page. What are they going with?
Wow, serial killer exclusive. Last days of Rose West. I mean, I don't think they've got any special information. I don't think they know exactly when she's going to go, but she's now 71. Apparently she's quite frail and doesn't leave her cell very often.
And they've also got a picture of Sabrina. I don't know who Sabrina is, but Mamma Mia next to her. And I just feel sorry that, like, she's made it to the front page of the national newspaper, and now she's like, yeah, Mum, get the Sun, I'm on the front page. Which you're on the... She's on... So she's going to frame it, but she's got to sort of cut out the Rose West. And then, of course, at the top we got Clarkson, my £5,500 bull is gay.
Right.
And I suspect that someone might be having steak.
Maybe.
And then beating up people for not making it ready on time or something?
At least you get it, yeah. It feels like there's an extra sentence. We want to know which way, don't we? We want to know...
Oh.
Is he... I'm presuming he spent the money... But the... Well, I don't want to get graphic about it.
You think it's a non-binary bull?
Either way, there are two ways, and neither should result in trench foot. And I think that's what I'm saying, or trench hoof in this particular case. But we don't know whether it's because the bull doesn't fancy the ladies, or the bull's just in a field and another bull comes along, and the next thing you know... I've not watched Brokeback Mountain for ages, but that kind of plot.
What sort of stuff are you watching online?
The algorithm gets you, doesn't it? It gives you some other stuff. Quick mention of the front page of the Star?
Yeah, Britain's biggest sewer rat. So this is a £123 million fine for... Thames Water Chiefs, but whilst they, of course, get $2.3 million in pay, which just seems a bit unfair. And there's something about witches, Rise of the Witches, but there's it seems like a very stereotypical, offensive picture of a witch. If I was a witch, I would think that is witch-phobic.
You're just trying to get in their good books before they finish rising.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, my mum's a witch. I know witches. Like they like self-replicate. It's like a big deal. She's, you know.
If spells were real, they would fix the nose.
You think so? Well, you don't actually. The thing is, you don't need just magic to fix the nose. Do you think that this is? You think this is real? This is the best that money can buy.
The rhinoplasty spell.
Get it? I got it bigger with a big dent in it.
Just to add to the persona. We've got time to jump into the actual newspapers in Cressida. We can look at the Times, and we were worried about police checking your social media. Now they're doing it for us by looking at ethnicity.
Police should disclose ethnicity of suspects, says Met Chief. So Mark Rowley's been on Radio 4 saying... Is this really about people learning their lesson, isn't it, from the Southport events. We know that there was a lot of confusion and a lot of misinformation put about at the time. So this time that we've had the attack in Liverpool, the ethnicity of the man was revealed within 2 hours. It was very, very quick. And Mark Rowley's saying this is a good thing because we're in the age of citizen journalism now. He doesn't really have a choice. I mean, this is what's happening. The internet gets flooded with images.
Agree. As long as the suspect is white, they should reveal it straight away. That's my
It's going to be awkward when they have a suspect and they go and some press person goes, and what's the ethnicity? They're like, well, what's that going to do with the thing?
Well, there was a kid, this hasn't been reported anywhere, but Jewish kids in hospital from being beaten up in the tube station in Hampstead. And there's 6 men, and they very consciously not mentioned any ethnicity there. So let's just say that policy is not in effect as of yet.
You're saying probably white. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, probably.
But you're right, though. The contempt of court laws were, like, crafted in the 80s. When we didn't have the internet, we had teletext. Like, the only way to find out any special stuff was to press the reveal button. So we very much live in a different world now, don't we? There's no putting that genie back in the bottle. I suppose they've got to deal with it.
Also, all the criminals back then were white.
All right, well, good to know that one. Meanwhile, we'll head into the next section. Still to come, we'll be looking at unsurprising news about the fact that there's probably not enough police around. That's all on the way. Still to come on Headliners, only on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
We have a very special guest, Rubens, who is the veterans mascot. He represents animals who fought and fallen in the war, and he's here with his owners, Mark and Debbie Perkins, and I've just given him a couple of treats. He's a special boy, isn't he?
Oh, thank you. Yes, he is. We're very proud of him. Yes.
What kind of dog is he?
So he is a white German Shepherd. He is. They're very rare. They are quite rare.
And he's 12 years old, I can't believe it.
Next month.
Next month's 12.
Years old.
You're both invited to his birthday party if you'd like to come.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, this dog is a bit sport, isn't he?
Well, he had an easy paper round.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Now, he sleeps on your bed.
He does, yes.
Yeah.
Sleeps between us, actually.
Must be a big bed, because he's a big lad.
He is. Well, we've had to go Super King.
Picture here then, Debbie, is this...
That was with the Chelsea pensioners. No, that was yesterday. These are people that he met.
This is all yesterday?
Some of these are yesterday, he was there with the Chelsea pensioners. He was on the Mall, up and down yesterday.
And is he very good with the veterans?
Oh, he loves them.
Oh, he loves them.
Yeah. So I go into care homes and he goes to care homes to meet veterans and things like that.
What a lovely thing.
His favourite was an old Land Army girl, but she's not here anymore, is she? No, she's not here.
Little.
Yeah, I think he does understand more than we think. But these veteran weekends are brilliant, and the children get a chance to reenact and to see what goes on, and they put 40 shows on, and then on the Sunday there's always a massive church service, and he goes and sits at the church. He goes to church services. He's quite.
It's quite surreal, really, because on these reenactments there's German paratroopers, there's British soldiers. When you go for a drink or a bite, it's a real mishmash of people.
Yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. You can get involved, get your thumbs working and send us your messages on gbnews.com/your say. Alison says, I didn't think over 75s had to pay for the BBC licence. I do hope you're not over 75 and haven't been paying for a while because I have just outed you as a criminal. Whoops. Moving into the Telegraph now, Josh, and we have a shortage of police officers. So now, if you tweet, they'll only send round 4 bobbies to arrest you.
Well, that's just used up my joke for the story.
Moving on.
Not enough police for London after population boom Met Chief warns. So, warns. Over the last 15 years, we've got 1 million more people in this country, and it says here, partly fuelled by immigration. I believe there were also 2 babies born as well.
Congratulations.
On top of that. And, yes, so that's going to be tough. They need £1 billion extra to sort of meet that need. It used to be about 360 people per copper, as we call them, but down my woods. Down that neck of my garden.
Woods?
Yeah.
Try to sound
Have a garden or woods. And now it's 400 per 100,000. So, yeah, it's a lot less police to deal with a lot more people. They've got a lot of, like you say, and you've got a lot more tweeters to arrest.
Yeah.
They have a lot of Islamist Nazis they have to ignore as well. So
keeps them busy.
That was part B of the joke.
Well, and if people are migrating to the UK, they're not traditionally old people, are they? Migrants coming in are statistically more in that, that bracket where men cause trouble when they're making the most testosterone. So that must contribute.
It's all behind me now. Barely remember.
12-year-olds.
What you don't see as well is a boat full of police. Because if we were also importing police, we could keep the numbers more balanced. That's what it seems that most migrants aren't police.
That's not representative, is it? That's very...
Well, if you tried to cross illegally and you were a member of the police, you'd arrest yourself. You never get anywhere. So maybe that's why this doesn't work as a theory.
That's exactly right. Apparently we're failing internationally as well. We don't have as many police as they do in New York by far. But I think all their police are fatter, aren't they? So they've got...
Yeah, but they've got more by mass. They've got guns so they can shoot further.
Good point.
We've just got bow and arrows.
Old school, nice. Crescent at the Daily Mail, and when it comes to doctors going on strike, we're losing patients. Oh, that's too harsh even for me. Oh, no.
Terrible. Public is fed up of striking medics and support for a future walkout of junior doctors over pay plummets after last year's bumper wage rises. They've already had their increase. They've had... they want another 30% on top of the 22.3% jump last year. And, of course, guys, read the room. No one's got any money. This isn't the time to be asking for more stuff. And that's reflected in the public figures. Apparently, a year ago, 52% of Brits were in favour of this. That's gone down to 39%. To be honest, I want to know who are the 39% who still support this.
Doctors.
People not sick.
Right,
Yes,
right.
generally. So it's interesting, yes, they point out that Labour voters are more supportive of strike actions and Conservatives are expressing the strongest opposition, which I think is quite shocking, which is obviously evidence that Conservatives are sicker. Is that...
I don't think that holds up.
You don't think that that's partly the reason why? You don't think it's ideological? Surely Conservatives want doctors to have loads of money.
Well, not when we're the ones paying for it, though.
No,
they want private doctors.
I don't think they do. I think they want lower taxes and everyone...
I've totally misread this whole Conservative...
It's late in the day to find out.
Why am I being Labour the whole time? I should have gone over to the Tories.
You can blame Labour for this in another way as well, because when they got in, they ended all the strikes, but then came out of all the negotiations and were like, absolutely nailed it, done it, no more strikes. And someone would have said, did you remember to get a promise of no more strikes after this? Oh, I knew there was something. They should have had this as part of the original deal, shouldn't they?
Yeah, but this is from the British Medical Association, which it's weird because they sound all kind of normal, the British Medical Association, but they're all just a bunch of sort of cranky union types, if I may say so.
Good luck getting your prostate checked next time.
No, I mean, I'm just saying they don't understand that there are two sexes. This is the British Medical Association. Yeah. So they're a bunch of ideologues. That's all I'm going to say about it. There,
Good, I should cut you off before you shout any more words out. Josh, the Telegraph. And a couple in their 70s are to be parents. They'll be changing nappies, struggling with solid foods, and on top of this, they'll have a baby. Nice.
Yeah, couple in 70s win right to parent surrogate baby. The baby is 16 months old. They're in their 70s. And they basically have won the right to raise this. It's their child. It's his... very slow sperm. Are we allowed to say sperm? I can't remember. I haven't done my Ofcom training for a few months. And
say it, but you can't show it.
It's their sperm and egg. And,
it's not her egg.
Well, it says here it's his egg and sperm, but I think that's a mistitle.
Yeah, it's not. It's a donor egg.
Yeah.
I think there's a sell-by date.
Oh, and a donor egg, yeah. And... But of course, what's going to happen is when this baby goes to high school, they're going to be in their late 70s. When they graduate, they're going to be, I think, 89 when they reach adulthood, that's pretty. They're rich, but just because you're rich doesn't mean you're definitely going to live to 89.
Yeah, there's going to be some emotional scars here, whatever happens.
It's actually a bit of a tragedy. It gets like you sort of read it and go, "This is mental," and then you turn the page and there's like a real oh, it's a bit sad.
I want to know how this was allowed in the first place. How did this surrogacy?
Rich people do whatever they want.
Well, apparently, yeah.
But they had an adult kid who died, and so they were like, That's why they had the thing. But I think it's morally wrong. I think. To do that. I mean, I feel losing a child, I wouldn't even want to imagine what it's like for them. But I think to have a child in your 70s is cruel.
Yeah,
and
it shows a lack
that's
of
my
planning.
punchline.
And it's not like the Al Pacino style ones where at least his partner is so young and he's got so much money that, that's... I'm not sure what it is with these rich actors who just in their 80s think, I think I'm going to start a family. It seems like an odd thing to do.
And it's not fair because the kid's not going to have any grandparents. No one thinks about that side of things.
But the kids can watch all the original films, Scent of a Woman, all that, and go, that was me dad. They've got that to do. That was meant to be happier than it came out. Cressida, which was the sound he made. No, we'll move on. Cressida, The Telegraph, and 2 transgender netball players have been told they can't have the balls back.
2 transgender netball players banned after opponent flattened. These 2 trans players, they used to be men, and it's very apparent.
Used to be men?
We do have a clip if you want to see how apparent
they used to be men?
Let's take a look.
It's hard to tell. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, my kind of woman. Got
a little bit of heft.
Got some cushion.
Someone who can give you the old Macron.
That's the other online rumour, very much so.
No, if that gave you the Macron, you'd know about it. We'd be in a very different situation.
Yeah.
That's the point. This is a very large person. What's bizarre is, this is in Australia. They are, I would argue, a bit behind us on all this stuff.
In many ways.
And the player has come out and really made this bizarre statement saying, I've sat quietly long enough with this narrative brewing. And it's essentially blaming the club because apparently the club headhunted her to be on the team. That wouldn't go down very well over
Ball
here.
hunted. I think that this is incredibly transphobic. They're not allowing this player to play anymore. They're saying that there are safety concerns. They're saying that, there might be... They're saying they have to study it, but there might be some physical differences between men and women. And none of this is proven. And it's disgusting.
You've changed so much. Not as much as that netball player.
I wonder why Australia is so seemingly woke. My dad's Australian, and it's weird that they're sort of so much more progressive than you would... That they went so far down that road.
Isn't there a bit in the story that this player used to play for the men's team? And the shocking thing here is men play netball? Are we sure? What kind of a world are we living in? That never used to happen in the old days, did it?
But you know what? Unfortunately, Steve, on a serious note, that attitude is exactly why someone who plays men's netball is going to go, you know what, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
Because of that netball phobia.
It might be more than that. Let's quickly try and cram this one in, Josh. The Telegraph. And what you need is a loving mother. That's almost what my internet search asked for that. Not quite. More of an acronym I use, but anyway, same sort of ballpark.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you halfway through.
It's the kind of joke that we do need to slightly bury.
Loving mothers, key to good mental health. This is a study at the University of California. But actually, they looked at 8,500 British children. They were assessed. And... the gist of it is, if they had loads of love at 3 years old, then when they looked at them later when they were teenagers, they were much more adjusted. Now, the thing that I don't like about this is they refer to, on the scientific terms, they're calling it maternal warmth, which is affection, praise, positive tone of voice, acts of affection. I do all that. Why is it maternal warmth? That's not fair.
Because they couldn't study men. They don't have the data. When this study began, obviously it was a long time ago, they don't have the male responses.
10 years ago.
Well, it says in here the reason they haven't covered dads is because they don't
because they're sexist.
They
disgusting.
don't have the
because
data.
they're all divorced and climbing up some building dressed as Spider-Man. That's what dads do, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know.
I was really surprised by this because I've read lots of Warren Farrell's work where kids with... if it's better to have both parents, right, statistically, but if you can only have one, the discipline you get from a dad sort of gives you better life.
Is that for men and women as well?
I think it is. I'm going to say yes, but I have to double check.
OK.
Yeah, I mean, this is about mental health, but I think maybe my one is about not going to prison. Or
yeah, exactly. There's discipline versus happiness, and you have to choose.
It is interesting. I just wanted to... Oh, you got to go?
Yeah.
OK.
You sure?
No, I'm just trying to think. My mum was really loving to me, so, yeah, you can go.
I'm glad you've done it. Yeah, you've got to keep in the will there, haven't you? So, coming up, we'll go inside the papers, and there's a thing about a rail company that will make you hate it, and it's not the delays. All of that coming up on Headliners, only on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After a day of sunshine and showers, it'll eventually turn dry into this evening. Only for a time, though, a return of some wet and windy weather from the west, leading us into an unsettled day tomorrow. But for the time being, a ridge of high pressure largely easing away any showers, but outbreaks of rain soon moving their way into Northern Ireland for the first part of the evening and eventually into western parts of England and Scotland, and turning quite heavy at times, particularly across western areas, and quite blustery too, particularly around exposed coasts of Scotland. But even elsewhere across England and Wales, it's going to be quite a damp and dank start to the day. But with the cloud outbreaks of rain, that does mean it's going to keep temperatures up, so it should be still quite a mild start to the day. And I'm afraid the outbreaks of rain are set to continue for much of the day as well, particularly across Scotland, where still it's going to turn heavy and still quite blustery at times through the course of the morning. Fairly similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, quite a wet start and some quite low cloud, leading to quite a misty, murky start, and fairly similar elsewhere across England and Wales, particularly western parts of Wales, parts of Devon and Cornwall, some damp areas to start here. And it's set to continue through much of the day, still some quite heavy and blustery outbreaks, particularly across Scotland. Those central areas, parts of the southeast, any rain should eventually ease away, but it's still likely to remain quite cloudy. But it's still going to be fairly warm, highs just about reaching the low 20s across the southeast, and it's still not going to be particularly cold either across the north, though obviously it's going to be quite a wet afternoon. Then heading into Friday, not quite as much rain, but it's still going to be damp at times. This system slowly sinking its way southward, leading us to some drizzly outbreaks and potentially turning a little bit brighter across Scotland, Northern Ireland. There's still a risk of showers here, but it's going to feel quite warm, quite humid, and it's likely we'll see further outbreaks of rain, particularly on Saturday across northern areas, and still temperatures across the south in the low 20s.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. Keep getting in touch on gbnews.com/your say. Elizabeth says on the story of the 70-year-old couple who are going to be parents, as you age, your hearing is not so sharp, so all the night crying won't disturb you, therefore you'll be up with a lark. Thank you. Oh, who would have thought gbnews.com/your say, the place finding the positive spin on things. Right, Cressida, the Telegraph and a rail company gets flack for its free tampon message, which is a nasty way to cover the Tommy Robinson story.
Woke rail company fails to mention women in free tampon scheme. So this is another one of those stories where people like Josh especially, feel that the person should be referred to as a woman and they're being referred to as people. So this is Avanti West Coast. They've started giving out packs of menstruation hygiene products to people.
That?
Do you know what annoys me about this, I know we're all supposed to be very annoyed they haven't said women and we're being erased and all of that. Just the whole thing, giving out this stuff, we don't need it. I'm a proper feminist. I went on an event recently and they went around the room and asked everybody what their greatest achievement was, which is already mortifying, go away. And they got to one woman and she seriously said, campaigning for free period products at university. And I thought, come back to me, mine is paying for my own period products. That's my greatest achievement. I reject this completely. We don't need it.
You wouldn't take free period products if it was offered to you.
Just have some dignity.
Because I went and bought this for you in the break.
Is that what it is? You'd take the plastic bit off first, wouldn't you?
Nothing to do with that. This is my actual personality.
Oh, OK.
I think it's silly. I reject it.
Well, I think that this is... I'm going to be contrary. I know it's all about balance and whatever.
Yeah.
But so the whole point is, it's Avanti West Coast. They're the same people who spent loads of money painting their trains the Progress Pride flag. So they're referring to these as customers and people. Now, I think that this is actually a good thing because it's not just biological women who need tampons. Also, people of both sexes get nosebleeds, and that is covering all eventualities of what... And also, sometimes you like to put them in water and they go... and it's quite fun, and you... So there's other elements that things they could be used for as well.
They are doing a good service. And also, they're just raising the awareness of women's time of the month. Apparently, part of it is that the trains will still go into the tunnels, but they just... I'll leave that joke there. I'm just going to leave that. I mean, it's probably enough information to get what the rest of that joke would have been. Josh, the Metro and doing a bad joke can end your comedy career, as I've just found out. Boom.
Comedian's offensive joke about Liverpool parade crash gets his gig cancelled. So this is Andrew Lawrence, who is an old friend of mine. We started stand-up around the same time together. And... after the tragedy on Monday in Liverpool, he went on and said a joke online on X, and people from Liverpool are very upset. People everywhere are very upset about it. He's done not similar jokes before, but he's done jokes that are very sort of close to the bone. He's a very funny guy, by the way. I think he's a very good stand-up. And this just wasn't that funny. And I can see why people are very upset about it. Like, it is offensive, you know, when there's kids involved and all of that stuff. So, I mean, it's not that personally, for me, it's like I joke about everything in my stand-up, and you should be able to joke about everything, but it's just not clever enough, or there's not that... What is the reason for going there?
Yeah.
It's not... That's one issue. And I guess the other issue is about cancellation, cancel culture. People have the right to not... Isn't it funny how, when it gets to stand-up, it's the one thing that you can't actually be funny about, if that makes sense?
Jokes.
It's like, I can't be funny about stand-up. I can try to be funny about anything else, but as soon as it starts talking about stand-up, everything gets so serious.
But I know what you mean... sorry, yeah, go on, Chris.
Because I'm not going to throw him under the bus. I don't think he's brilliant, and I don't think... I mean, come on, it's so obviously a joke. I just think the people of Liverpool have got a lot more to worry about at the moment. I'm surprised that it's caused this much...
I'm not... Well, it's Liverpool. No offence to... I mean, maybe now people... But Liverpool is famous for being very touchy.
And he's famous for touching things.
OK. Now you're going to get cancelled.
What I mean is that Andrew Lawrence is known for making edgy jokes. That's exactly what he does. So...
I don't know. I just think it's not... I just don't... Yeah. He has the right to joke about whatever he wants, and people have the right to be upset and not to go and see him.
And also, the venue has the right to cancel him if they want, which wouldn't be my preferred outcome, but that's what they're doing. That might be a business decision. If people... You know, maybe it's the right thing for them to do.
You should... I mean, you seem to be, like, making an argument for free speech. You should host some sort of show that sells that as its main...
Yeah, and if people come and they can click on the little thing there...
To get the audience.
To come in the audience.
There'll be a QR code at some stage, probably.
Maybe.
Cressida, the Eye, Nigel Farage is a TV presenter who's attracting young men online, but not in a way that would get you fired from ITV's This Morning.
Brilliant. How Nigel Farage's TikTok charisma is attracting Gen Z men into Reform UK. Of course, he's doing very well with young men. Polls indicate that 19% of 18 to 24-year-olds express support for reform, and we know that's mostly boys. Yeah. All the girls are voting for the Green Party now. They're having none of it. They're all going in different directions. And so this is an article talking about...
Is that true?
What, that...
Women vote for a Green Party?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so it says in here. And this is, isn't it? Women are going more left-wing, men are going more right-wing. Guys, can't we all just get along? No, we can't.
Where are non-binary people going?
No, Josh,
The
I don't.
Tories. Seems unlikely.
No one's going to the Tories, unfortunately for them. So this article is looking at a few young people telling the Eye why they were drawn to reform. And to be fair, this first young man, he says policies drew him first to UKIP and then reform. I just thought this really appeals to me, and it's what I hear people talk about in the street, and this was being offered by Nigel Farage. So that's not...
He's 12 years old, right?
Nigel Farage.
No, this young man.
But whatever, the point is, he's not... Chicken and egg, isn't it? Is it that Nigel's doing well on TikTok because he's learned a thing or two?
First name basis. Someone's been making cheese.
Mr. Howie, or I don't know, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter what I think. There are 2 points to it, though, that they are good at TikTok.
Yeah, very good at TikTok.
Yes.
And whoever does their social media for reform, I think, does an excellent job and should get paid lots of money. That's my personal... That's how I feel about it.
But the article also talks about this thing of telling men they're terrible and then just waiting to see what happens. Because we live in a culture where it's not as if any man who's suffering with that can't actually voice an opinion without being told, like, shut up and deal with it. You've had it so good for so long. And, of course, there's, that pressure's going to go somewhere. And it's better that it goes to online supporting a political party on TikTok rather than the online women haters, those incel types.
Also, look... Everybody, human beings are actually very smart, but children in particular, or young people, they get authenticity. Now, whether or not you agree with his policies, Nigel Farage is authentic. What you see is what you get. Unlike the three of us, which is just a facsimile.
It's not even your real nose, we found out tonight. Josh, The Telegraph, there's a story about a polyamorous woman who talks about how they share the money. That's not the detail we want. When I said who gives and who takes, I meant a very different thing.
Nice. I'm polyamorous. This is how we manage our money. So this is an interview with some of the most insufferable human beings on the planet. Totally absorbed in how amazing they are and dynamic and interesting. Whatever is mine is theirs. This is a 38-year-old king. Doesn't have one single romantic partner, no. Doesn't aspire to be part of the nuclear family. Nuclear family. She's got many different partners and is part of a polycule. So what she sort of is saying, maybe she, is saying that, like, she says, yes, I've got my accounts and my assets. But first of all, you're not allowed to be polyamorous and have assets. I don't. That's how I feel about it.
It did surprise me when later on we find out that actually she's earning a lot of money. I didn't think that. I thought people who were polyamorous just had attachment wounds and couldn't cope with intimacy. That's just what I hear when I hear about it.
This is it. So she's got like loads of followers online. Probably, maybe, Nigel Farage. She's probably learned a lot from Nigel Farage.
Is he polyamorous? Is what you're saying?
He's polypolitical amorous.
Yeah.
And she's got an investment fund and she's financially stable. And basically, she just sleeps around a lot and gives people money.
Cool.
Sounds pretty cool to me.
It used to be a different way of doing that. Yeah.
I can't believe she's got all this money just from talking about non-monogamous relationships on social media. That's how she makes her money. That is a non-job, and that's coming from me. I mean, I don't know.
It's like going on TV and talking about being Jewish or something. Or trans stuff.
In there, when she talks about anyone that she's having relationships with, if they're on hard times and they can't afford the rent, then she will give them money. And obviously, we don't want to address any of the rumours about the future of this show, but I do want to say, date me. If there's, we could just a couple of days, we could just go steady. I've got a wife,
right? Actually, yeah.
2 kids to pay for.
Get in touch, Ms. King.
Ms. King. Let's try and fit this one in the Daily Mail. Adult-only hotels in Europe could be banned. Imagine having hotels that you can use because they're not full of migrants. It's weird, isn't it?
Adults-only.
So political now, Steve. You've changed.
You haven't. Adults-only hotels risk being banned in popular European country as they are a threat to society. This popular country is France, and they've got a High Commissioner for Childhood. We haven't got one of those, have we? Who's saying that the country's no kids trend is causing violence against children.
Oh.
That's a bit dramatic, isn't it? So there's this idea that people don't like travelling with kids, and the French are saying, no, we're going to try and make it illegal to have adult-only hotels. What?
It sounds so fun. An adult-only hotel. That sounds like the dream. Are there any adult? Have you ever? I hadn't heard of this concept of adult-only hotels.
Yeah,
well, people must really hate their kids. By the way, they have a very different culture over there. When the kids are born, they pretty much a lot of them do get handed off to nannies, and it's a very, very different culture. Some of them get handed off to a teacher and then they become president.
They get knocked around on a plane.
Yeah.
Which it is annoying travelling with these kids. That's what we've learned from them.
Certainly French kids.
Yeah, well, on that plane anyway. So, and there are some adult-only hotels on the A1 as you go north. And for anyone who's driven up that bit, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Coming up, we'll jump even further into the newspapers with a story of how someone accused their bosses of being racist. Find out who on the way soon. It's Headliners only on GB News.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Whilst eastern parts of Europe are having some further heavy rain causing some issues here, it's a different story further west. A largely settled picture, a few showery bursts perhaps affecting the Canaries, but likely to avoid most of these. Also largely dry on Thursday across much of Spain and Portugal. A large chunk of Italy having a fine picture, but still some showery rain towards the east, and then a very wet story across more eastern parts, across Greece and Turkey, for example. See you later.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as
and now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Nigel is back.
Good evening.
Unfiltered.
Are these proposals bold enough?
Uncompromising.
Will it bring growth?
Unmissable.
We as a country are brilliant.
Nigel Farage returns this Tuesday from 7 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Welcome back to Headliners. Keep getting in touch on gbnews.com/yoursay, where on that story of the woman who is polyamorous, Anne-Marie says sounds more like a polyfiller. How very dare you.
Nice. Funny.
Josh, to the Daily Mail, Josh, and a man accused his employer of racism, but his employer is Curry's. But it's not going where you think it's going.
Implying your office colleagues have stolen your work mug when it goes missing will probably come across as out of proportion, tribunal rules as worker loses race discrimination case. So, yeah, Adil Habib basically started a work. Someone thieved his mug. And he went around the office with someone else and was like, "Who's taken my mug?" That's not a direct
Don't do the
impression.
accent,
I don't know. Yes. And then everybody was like, "What?" They were like, "This guy's a bit like."
They gave him the cold shoulder.
Cold shoulder.
Don't blame them.
Exactly. And since then, it seems like then he wanted to go on holiday for 5 weeks to Pakistan because there were a bunch of weddings, and his boss said, "No, maybe taking a 5-week holiday is not great for us." So then they were like, "You're racist, and where's my mug?" And that's the story.
And he didn't win.
Yeah.
He didn't win, and the judge said, "Sad though it is to have to say this, it seems to us to be likely, oh God, that Mr. Habib is unfortunately ill-equipped to cope with the nuances of social interaction in the workplace and lacks the sort of social skills that might have eased tensions around the mug incident." Do you think he'd like a job on Headliners? Perfect.
This is my mug, all right? Leave it alone.
There's tons in the cupboard. Cressida, of the Telegraph, and your health between 36 and 46 is the most important. Does that still count if that's the age you pretend to be on Wikipedia? Asking for a friend.
Absolutely. Why 36 to 46 is the most critical decade of your health. It doesn't actually sound like it is. It sounds like really... Most people do all the damage in the 20s. They go out raving.
No, but you recover. You recover, that's the point.
Yes, but... Well, yes, OK, yes. So they're hoping that you...
Yay! One more.
Won it!
They're hoping that you pack it in at 36. But then, of course, like all these health things, they go through all the reasons why you should, hormonal changes, stress of having kids and working. Apparently, you're 36 to 46 is where you're really working hard and you're stressed. And then, of course, towards the end, they say, but if you didn't give it all up, don't worry, start whenever you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice of them, isn't it? Thank you, Telegraph.
This is why I don't understand the Leonardo DiCaprios, who'd want to date someone who's able to go out and drink and have none of the side effects, where you're in an age group where you have a hangover, it's a full weekend ruined. I want to be with a partner who also needs a couple of ibuprofen in the morning to get going. With that, we've got something in common. Do you know
but
what I
they
mean?
could go and make the greasy eggs and coffee or whatever it is while you're suffering.
I do like a greasy coffee. Yeah, you got me going there. All right, and then we can look at this one then. Josh, The Times. Have you ever said it's me or the dog? I have, but only when my partner asked who broke wind.
Nice. Would you dump someone if your dog disapproved? Many owners would. So there's more and more evidence showing that people prefer companionship of a dog to humans. And a lot of people are saying, 42% of people said that they would end a romantic relationship if their dog barked, I guess. I don't know how a dog shows disapproval. I don't have a dog.
Or like
just saying, "Oh, I don't like that," whatever. And they would break up with somebody if their dog showed disapproval. Cresta was showing me pictures of a dog in her life, and you get on very well. Do you think that if that dog didn't like you,
I'd be out the door if I didn't get on with the dog. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I do get on with the dog, and that's why I get on with him, because he's a dog person.
Okay, so this is it. You get all the dog benefits without paying the vet bills.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
This
I'm winning.
is it.
No, of course you should get rid of someone that doesn't like your dog. If you've got a dog, you're a dog person, and you can't have someone that doesn't like your dog. It's never going to work.
But from my experience, dogs live for about 18 years, and that is longer than any relationship I've ever had. So you're right, it's got to be the dog, hasn't it? They do stick around longer.
What breed is that?
What, 18 years? You can get dogs that last till they're 18.
Can you?
Yeah.
I'm just worried if my kids stop liking me, then my wife might ditch me.
So you've not got a dog?
I don't.
That's why you don't know. So dogs can communicate. The only words they can say is sausages, but they mean hostages.
I have a fifth child. The fifth child is
the
our dog. Yeah, that's and he always says, like, "Oh, Daddy, can we get a dog?" I'm like, "You're our dog, mate." That was the choice that we had. You exist because we don't have a dog.
Did you teach him to walk, or have you already gone all in? He's on all fours. He's on a lead.
Yeah, he's totally feral.
Yeah,
he's great, but he's cuddly.
He sounds great.
He's cuddly. He's hairy.
He's probably watching right now in front of the telly, asleep. Hey,
but it does make sense. Of course, you prefer dogs to people because have you met people?
Well, that's right. I had a lovely story recently. There was a woman who had a dog and her daughter was reading about pets and said, we should get a pet, and she hadn't noticed that the dog was a pet and not just some guy that hangs around in their house.
Oh, that's
cute.
Oh, nice. Well, on that sweet note, that's just about all we've got time for. Now, don't forget, you can stay with us all day. It's not just on TV, but on radio and on your smart speaker. To listen to us on your smart speaker, just say, play GB News on TuneIn, and it'll do it. That's all we've got time for. Thank you to my guests, Cressida Wetton and Josh Howie. We will be back tomorrow at 11 with, I've got the notes, Josh Howie's here, Adam Kumas and Nick Dixon will be the ones sitting down doing all of the work. And if you're watching at 5 a.m, stay exactly where you are. Breakfast, both the meal and the show, on the way for you shortly. Till the next one, have a good one.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. After a day of sunshine and showers, it'll eventually turn dry into this evening. Only for a time, though, a return of some wet and windy weather from the west, leading us into an unsettled day tomorrow. But for the time being, a ridge of high pressure largely easing away any showers, but outbreaks of rain soon moving their way into Northern Ireland for the first part of the evening and eventually into western parts of England and Scotland, and turning quite heavy at times, particularly across western areas, and quite blustery too, particularly around exposed coasts of Scotland. But even elsewhere across England and Wales, it's going to be quite a damp and dank start to the day. But with the cloud outbreaks of rain, that does mean it's going to keep temperatures up, so it should be still quite a mild start to the day. And I'm afraid the outbreaks of rain are set to continue for much of the day as well, particularly across Scotland, where still it's going to turn heavy and still quite blustery at times through the course of the morning. Fairly similar across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, quite a wet start and some quite low cloud, leading to quite a misty, murky start, and fairly similar elsewhere across England and Wales, particularly western parts of Wales, parts of Devon and Cornwall, some damp areas to start here. And it's set to continue through much of the day, still some quite heavy and blustery outbreaks, particularly across Scotland. Those central areas, parts of the southeast, any rain should eventually ease away, but it's still likely to remain quite cloudy. But it's still going to be fairly warm, highs just about reaching the low 20s across the southeast, and it's still not going to be particularly cold either across the north, though obviously it's going to be quite a wet afternoon. Then heading into Friday, not quite as much rain, but it's still going to be damp at times. This system slowly sinking its way southward, leading us to some drizzly outbreaks and potentially turning a little bit brighter across Scotland, Northern Ireland. There's still a risk of showers here, but it's going to feel quite warm, quite humid, and it's likely we'll see further outbreaks of rain, particularly on Saturday across northern areas, and still temperatures across the south in the low 20s.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
You could be driving away with this brand new Elnag Baron 560 motorhome. It comfortably sleeps 4, comes with skyroof, integrated kitchen and bathroom, and is worth over £67,000. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a further £5,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that wherever this motorhome takes you, it takes you there in style. For another chance to win the lot, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say...
now